How might the US-Israeli war in Iran affect the war in Ukraine? Here's a current snapshot of the global situation and how experts believe a US-Israeli conflict with Iran might affect the war in Ukraine, especially given the major escalation on 28 Feb 2026, with coordinated strikes by the US and Israel against Iran. Diversion of global attention. One consistent theme in geopolitical analysis is that when the West, particularly the US and EU, is forced to focus on a new and dangerous conflict in the Middle East, strategic attention and political bandwidth shift away from Eastern Europe. With Iran-Israel hostilities dominating headlines and diplomatic efforts, media attention and policy energy can be diverted away from Ukraine. Some analysts argue that this diversion benefits Moscow by reducing Western pressure and scrutiny on Russia's war strategy. Bottom line, Ukraine may receive less immediate political focus from key Western capitals, at least temporarily. Russia's position could strengthen indirectly. Iran has been an important partner to Russia in the Ukraine war, supplying drones, missiles, and technology that Moscow has used on the battlefield. The strategic cooperation between Iran and Russia has existed even without a formal alliance. If Iran's strategic position is weakened, or its focus turns entirely inward against Israel and the US, Moscow might have to recalibrate its drone supply chain and diplomatic backing. However, Russia has condemned US-Israeli strikes and could use the crisis to portray the West as overextended. Possible outcome: mixed. Reduced Iranian support might hurt Russia's material advantage, but greater Western distraction could help Russia's operational room. Economic and resource shocks. A major Middle East conflict, especially if the Strait of Hormuz is threatened, tends to raise global oil and gas prices. Higher energy prices can indirectly benefit Russia by providing more revenue to fund its war in Ukraine. Rising defense costs and economic risk can strain Western defense budgets, potentially impacting financial support to Ukraine. Strategic effect. A bigger energy windfall for Russia could sustain or enhance its war financing if markets spike sharply. Military focus and munitions constraints. Current analysis suggests that the US and Israel are facing munitions shortages due to ongoing conflicts. That matters because if the US diverts more air defenses, missiles, and logistics to the Middle East, material available for Ukraine support could be constrained. However, NATO and European countries have their own stocks and production, so this doesn't automatically translate to a loss of support, but it complicates logistics and prioritization. Diplomatic complexity, not direct linkage. Crucially, most analysts believe the Iran conflict won't directly end or sharply change the Russia-Ukraine war by itself. Moscow is unlikely to suddenly negotiate an end to its invasion because of Middle East tensions. Likewise, NATO's commitments to Ukraine remain separate from the Middle Eastern theater, even if prioritization shifts. Conclusion: the two wars are geopolitically linked but not causally merged. One doesn't automatically drive the outcome of the other. In plain terms, a US-Israeli conflict with Iran is more likely to reshape geopolitics, global energy markets, and diplomatic priorities than to directly change battlefield dynamics in Ukraine. Russia may benefit from a distracted West and higher energy prices, but the structural realities of the Ukraine war, deep NATO support, massive Russian commitments, and regional focus differences mean that one conflict won't automatically decide the fate of another.